I haven't.
I love it.
So, Steve, you said you went to church?
Yeah.
Where's that at?
I go to First Baptist here in Cleveland.
They have 2 services or one?
3.
3.
3 in the morning. So we hit the middle one because one's too early, one's too late.
They have Sunday school?
Yes.
Is there 2 Sunday schools or 1?
I don't know. I go to the one with David Hicks. And as we tape this today, David, Scott, and the late Scott Hicks and Amy, Robin.
No.
Robin. He
Robin.
was his aunt.
Yeah.
But started the class today as we tape this. Heath Esslinger and him, all's unbelievable.
You're saying Scott Hicks's boy?
Mm-hmm. His son David.
How old is he?
I'd say he's he's probably in his mid to probably late 30s. I don't think he's 40 yet. Isn't that right?
You know, I went to school. I was in 1st grade, 2nd grade, and 5th grade, and 7th and 8th and 9th with Wes.
Is that right? That'd be his uncle.
Yeah.
And I tell you about anybody, whatever you're communicating, whether it be in here, whether it be in church, whether it be you're a teacher, whatever, you have to know how to hold people's attention, and you have to somehow grab the person. I was talking to my friend Coach Mark Tipton the other day. Coach T was with Benny Monroe at Cleveland High for years, and now he's at Best Buy Metals. But he said, look, you've got to make them laugh, make them cry, and you know what? I can't remember the third one. I need to go back and ask Mark. But yeah, I went to a very nice class today, actually.
You know, that brings me to something. You say you have to make them laugh, you have to make them cry. I think that there's one question that everybody would like to ask you.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
How did you get such a good-looking wife? I mean, there's nothing apparent.
Wait, what is this, 60 Minutes? What's this close-up? My Lord. What are you, Mike Wallace? You put me. Well, I'll tell you a story. You remember the late, great Max Carroll?
Yeah.
Well, Max, we had not been dating very long, and I really didn't date very long.
Where did you meet?
We met through Sandra Rowland. She worked for your friend Alan Jones. And so I saw her. I was invited to the bistro when Alan started the bistro. Mm-hmm. Sandra invited me to be there. And so I saw her there, and then, Sandra introduced me. Well, then at that point, we were going out for a while, and we go to the Gondolier for lunch one day. Now, Jennifer had never met Max Carroll, the late, great Max Carroll. And he walks by, and he sees her, and of course he knows me all my life, and he takes his glasses off, and he puts them on her. Now, she's never met him. And he says, honey, you need these more than I do. Isn't that great?
But you still didn't answer the question.
Yeah, I mean, it just clicked. I don't know. Who knows, man? Who knows? There are some mysteries we'll never understand.
Well, let me ask you this. You
Yeah.
said you had you took your son to the doctor for ear. Is he a swimmer?
It's my daughter.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not a swimmer, but she, gets in the pool in the summertime and gets water lodged in there, and so we had to.
How'd they get that out?
At this point, it's an antibiotic.
Oh,
Yeah.
They don't just suck it out. It's like an infection.
It's an infection. Yeah, it gets infected after a while, and so yeah, I took her by, right in and out, done. But had to go get the antibiotic. So,
Is the radio station running right now? It's running right now.
As we speak.
Is there somebody there at the place?
Well, I talked to Elon Musk, so he gave me a robot, and the thing sits there, and we call it Bridget, and she's on with me every morning. No, it would run now till Jesus comes, as long as the commands are in there, and yeah, it's running Christian music as we tape this on Sunday. And let's see, the Braves have been on our talk station earlier today. That can be automated. And then our Spanish station runs today. So
How do you keep up with all that? After doing what little I do here, I have a whole new respect for your business. It's unbelievably more pitfalls than you could imagine.
Well, first of all, Dee, let me say, I respect what you're doing here because, like I told you before we came on the air, I don't know of anybody doing this, not only here in Cleveland, but in this area, to just sit down and have some very important conversations. You're doing a tremendous job, and I don't see any notes. Now, there may be a cue card over my head, or
No
Gwen
notes.
may be
No
giving you
notes.
something, some AI, I don't know.
I thought about this conversation this morning in the shower. I thought, what are we going to talk about?
and then it was over. No, I tell you, I got a great team. Dwayne Williams, is our operations manager. You know Dwayne.
He's near a genius, in my opinion.
He is, and so he runs it all. He keeps it flowing. He keeps it categorized. And then he's on the air. He's on the air every afternoon. You have Bridget Forrester, who's been with me for 15 years, co-host, but then she's in sales. You have Ashley Rue, 15 years, mainly sales, more on the air lately. You have, and then, we social media, put that together. A lady named Kristen Templeton who's been with us a couple of years. She also does we do a magazine, a high school football and basketball. We have
A real paper magazine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll bring one in when we get it
Boy.
ready. Yeah, been doing that a long time. Been doing that one. See, the football magazine, I want to say goes back. This is 14 years. Sandra Rowland did the first one for us, and then we did football one year. And then the basketball coaches called, said, "What about us?"
Yeah.
And then we did that. And with wrestling, we put wrestling in there. And then we've got Austin Chadwick. About a year ago, when you built our building, and you did such a marvelous job.
It's easy to work for good people.
Well, Jennifer's great, isn't she? But we built the building with you, and in my mind, I knew I wanted to do video. I didn't know how, I didn't know what, I just knew I wanted to make it to where, there's always going to be a place for radio. There's always going to be a place for audio. But video is very important, as we all know and as we see here today. So when we did that, I hired a guy named Austin Chadwick. He was at Channel 12. He had been there for 9 years. He's from Cleveland, though. And so I brought him in, and I had a couple things I wanted him to do, but I said, Austin, I hired him about this time of year, early August, late July. I said, I want you to just concentrate on building our digital TV channel and what we're going to do. That's all I had him do. He built it from the ground up. And today we're getting hundreds of thousands of people watching every month based on all of our programming, which my morning show, transitioned over there. Or not transitioned, it's on the radio still, obviously. And then, I hired a second full-time person who Gwen knows, Gideon Ratcliffe, from Bradley Central High School and from Chattanooga State. And I'm Ryan Felton is a huge, Rudy Felton's son. Ryan is Rudy and his family, great people. So we got a lot of, here, Yvette Bond runs our Fiesta station, our Spanish station. She came, that was an interesting story, how the Spanish station came about. I was told by my engineer, he said, Steve, we can get another channel, radio station. The FCC is going to make them available. That's been a few years ago. And I said, Spanish. Let's do a Hispanic station for the people. And would you believe my number one person I wanted was Yvette Bond. She had worked in radio with us 20 years ago under previous ownership. And I was going to call her, but I'm a bit of a procrastinator, as you probably know. And so I hadn't called her yet, and she came to us. She came to our station, said she felt led to come, and had no clue, and just came. Isn't that amazing?
That's God.
Amen. And she came, and she has just done built a great team now. They've been at it for 2 years.
She's got her own team
Got her own team. She has, I think it's up to 6 individuals
that work there.
that work at Just Fiesta. These people, including some pastors, Sergeant Evie West, picked the format of music. I called her. I had a team of. I don't know anything about that. I had a team of people, wonderful people, who helped us build the Fiesta station. We just did the duck race a couple nights ago, and when we did that, we always have a contest for children, because the duck race is for people, adults 18 and over, to win the big prizes. Well, children can decorate ducks, okay, and win prizes. Well, our winning child came from our Fiesta station. A young guy, a young child who just did a tremendous job, did not speak English. He spoke Spanish. So I brought Yvette over, and they had a great interview right there on stage in front of thousands of people. It was wonderful.
You've named 14 people. About 14.
We may need to cut some loose. That's too many. And I hope I've named them all. I'm trying to think of who I may have missed. I think we got everybody.
It's a lot of moving parts.
It really is. Yeah, it is. You know, when I started, it was just radio. That's all we did. We had 2 stations, and when I say I started, I started at 15 years old, right over here, almost across the street from us here. And over in that plaza where Cutting Up is down below there.
With Tom Rowland.
With Tom, yeah, Tom and George.
You sound like him.
Do I?
Yeah.
Probably, I've been around him too long.
Is that your natural voice?
This is it. No training, no nothing. That's just it. I get that question more than any. Tell me, well, the question I get more than any is.
But you have a deep voice, very clear.
But the question I get more than anything is, what time do you get up?
Oh, I was going to ask that.
And I think anybody who gets up early,
You know what inspires me?
What?
And you may not realize it, but I'll get up in the morning. I got my list. I got 50 things
I
to do.
can imagine you do.
I'm getting ready. Put the car in reverse. I'm thinking, how am I going to get this done? I hit the radio, and you're already talking. And I'm thinking, well, he's busy too.
I act busy.
I mean,
I'm not that busy.
But
Ain't that right, Gwen?
I mean, you've got to have these things swirling around in your head. It's got to be a lot harder than people would think.
Yeah, I tell you what I've become. We've owned the stations now. We're in the 14th year of ownership, which is unbelievable. Yes, I have read, and our mutual friend Alan Jones and I have talked about this. Successful people get up earlier than they just get up earlier, and I think that. And I'm not saying people who sleep in are not successful. I'm not suggesting it. What I'm suggesting is, for me, I just speak for me personally. I will have ideas very early. I'm a big picture person. I have an idea. Well, like I told you, I had the idea about video. I wanted video.
Are you an Aries?
I know I'm a Cancer because I was born in July. But I'll have these ideas. I'm a big picture. But I love promotions. I'm not talking about just sales. I'm talking about things we can do that will draw interest. But at the same time, I'm not a details person. Not really. But I have really good people who are. So the question is, okay, yeah, early in the morning, I will get flooded, especially in the morning, with ideas. And I'll have things that I want to work on. Not every morning, but most mornings.
Why do you think you think you're not a detailed person? Do you think that? I mean,
I get bogged. Well, I can get bogged down in it really fast. So
you get like over analyzing the
Yes.
situation?
Oh, I'll think it to death.
So instead of
Absolutely.
thinking it to death, you just don't think about
I
it.
just don't think. I just say, here, let's do this. Let's do this, and let's just make it happen. And I think there are two kinds of people. There are doers, and there are just talkers. You know, so I'd like to think I'm a doer.
You're obviously a doer.
I'd like to think I am. I don't know.
You're running like 6 facets of a. That building's almost not big enough for you, isn't it? When you think about all that.
We moved in, and
During COVID.
during COVID,
Built it during COVID.
built it during COVID.
We
You
were
did.
talking like this.
You and your crew. And we moved in. It's 3 times the size, as you know, of the other place that we were in. And I mean, yes, you make a good point, is that we moved in, and it was like, we're here. I mean, I don't know. You know, we're not over full, but we're full.
Do you think that, now in the mornings when you have the talk show, what time does that, who schedules these people for you? I mean, somebody's coming in the morning, right?
Yeah, sure.
And do you know who it is?
Yep, we have a shared calendar.
Do you know who's coming the Monday week?
Not on the top of my head. I would
Are
know
they
if
scheduled?
Oh, yeah.
How
Yeah.
far out do they schedule?
If it's a recurring thing, feature, let's say a recurring sponsored feature could be scheduled out from now on. If it's but usually guests are scheduled out a couple weeks ahead of time, sometimes a month, depends. We definitely have guests set for September.
Now, see, last Friday morning it was what, Kevin Brooks and Gary Davis, or was that Thursday morning?
Thursday morning, yeah.
And-
That was one where they called and said, "Hey, we need to get on."
Did
the
you have to bump somebody?
No, I had to add a slot.
So when you add that slot, then there's somebody, then you put this thing, it's on the radio, and then you can watch it on Mixed TV later.
Online, yeah, sure.
Do many people do that? Watch it later?
We're running right now. The latest numbers were 250,000 people a month are watching Mixed
50,000 a week.
TV. Exactly.
Watch what?
They go to our website, click Mixed TV. They'll watch the morning show, and then we have other programming.
Not specifically anything, just they click on
They
it.
click on it, and they're watching at least, as they say in the business, at least 10 to 15 seconds is the metric.
If they watch that long, they're going to watch it.
I would think they're interested, and the beauty of it is they can forward through. They can, if it's
Come
not
back.
they come back. We're live too, so we're live. But then if they don't want to, if they can't sit there, here let me tell you, the beauty of it is in radio. You just said it. I get in my car and I hit the radio. That's a lot of people. Now there's a lot of people still listen at home, but some people watch TV, some people whatever. But when they get in their car, most people punch it. Well, then here's why we did video. The bottom line is, when they get to where they're going, if they are not allowed by their boss to listen to the radio or whatever the situation, maybe they're going to the line at a factory, who knows? Well, okay, they can come back and watch it later at some point if they're interested.
Now, if they're interested, depends on the guest, who they're interested in, or if they're interested in the subject. For whatever reason, they may come back.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to, exactly. At that point, it's a personal decision.
People say, oh, so, this was too, it's like doing this here. I've heard, the biggest criticism I've heard is that it's too long. But if you're interested in the person and the discussion, it's not long enough.
Yeah.
If you're interested in that thing.
You've
If you're
talked
not
about-
interested, 5 minutes is too long.
Sure. And I'd say that about Jerome Hammond. I thought that went on way too long. I mean, about 30 seconds, I'm done.
I think we were still talking and everybody had already left. Me and him get to going so quick.
What
We
is that?
didn't even announce his name.
Well, you look at him, you see him at the post office.
I could talk to him for 15 hours and never even go to the bathroom.
Well, let's not put that to the test, Dee. I don't think we need to do that.
He's so interesting, isn't he?
He is. He really is. He's a dear friend. But he thinks he'll tell you he's interesting.
But he thinks I don't know if it's out there or if it's. Anyway, he's a good thinker.
He is. He's a psychologist.
Psychologist,
So,
yeah.
he knows what he's doing. He thinks he does.
Do you think when people come in, it's almost like, why not video it? It's not like it's $1 million. It's like, why not?
Yeah.
Here's something that drives me crazy. People say, do you have Sirius radio? No. And there's a reason why I don't. I don't feel plugged in, if that makes sense.
That's it. Yeah.
Even though it may be a pre-recorded show
Sure.
or something, I don't feel plugged in.
I walk around, or I'll ask people at the station. I'll say, why would anybody listen to us? I will. I'll say that to the people who work there. I'll say, why do people listen to us? And what we get, and these are our feedback that we get, our numbers that we get now, and we have a lot more numbers now than we ever had because of video. I believe, and our people believe, the reason that they listen to us is for local information, for local things, for, you just said it, you don't really feel that connected or whatever. You know, Sirius XM, I hear from people. Now, there are people right here, that's all they listen to or whatever, that's fine. But I hear from people that if they say, well, if I'm traveling, I can listen to games or whatever. For us locally, though, we are never going to try to be a Chattanooga station. We are never, what I say is, we're Cleveland. Okay, now we have listeners in Chattanooga. We have listeners in Athens. There are some areas with no radio station representation that we are going to cover their bigger stories, and I'm talking about the news now. Mm-hmm. And so that's why if you listen in the morning, about every 10 minutes you're going to hear a news update, because I want the person that listens to feel informed, to get, and that includes weather, that includes traffic. We've had a lot of, as Cleveland gets bigger, and as we cover the interstates and all that in this area, we have more traffic, obviously. Going down Paula Parkway is not like going to 405 in Los Angeles. I lived in California for 5 years, so I can tell you. The other part of that is I want them to get the weather. The weather is extremely important in this area. And then sports. So we're going to update sports, once an hour in the morning. And that's what we try. So information, especially local, is where we come in. A lot of people will comment, and they'll say a couple of things. They'll say, bad weather, we go to you guys, especially if it's in the daytime or, whenever. We're affiliated, one of the first things I did when we bought the station, I affiliated us with Channel 3. At that time, Paul Barris, up until just a few weeks ago. And that was mainly for the weather. Now, I love the people. David Carroll and Cindy Sexton, I've known them most of my life. They're wonderful people. And so I affiliated us with 3 because of that, because I knew that there were going to be times when we could not be live on the air or whatever. We just wanted their affiliation. And we do that with news. But bad weather, back to 2011, the tornadoes. We had, of course,
school closings.
School closings, absolutely.
Where else would you get that information?
There are ways, but I think our deal is this. I am not a niche person. Radio in major markets, even in Chattanooga, in a lot of cases, corporate, they're going to say, okay, I want a man over the age of 50 who's left-handed and loves to garden. I don't know. They want to really I don't believe in that. I want them from 9 to 90. I want them from birth to as old as they want to be. I love the mornings when we'll get a call. This happened Friday. We get a call from a child, a little girl going to Parkview Elementary School. She wanted to talk about the duck race that night. And then, buddy, we got a call from a woman in her 80s. Listen, I love that. I love that. The Apostle Paul said, "I've become all things to all people, that I may win one." And I believe in that.
So you think that you're more of the fringe areas and local?
I believe we are. You know, we've got a great signal in Athens. Now, my friend Randy Slager owns great radio stations in Athens. His dad hired me at WCLE, Jim, the late Jim Slager. So they've got a great station up there, WJSQ. But we actually reach Tullamore City comfortably.
Polk County?
Oh yeah, and
Etowah?
Yep. Meigs, Ray.
Cohutta?
Oh yeah, Cohutta, sure. Ask Donna Davis down there at Red Clay Resort. She'll tell you. She can hear us down there in Cohutta.
Oh yeah. Boy, that's a nice place, isn't it?
I tell you, my children love it. They love it.
That is if you haven't been there on a Sunday or a Saturday,
Yep.
it's a whole nother world out there, isn't it?
It's tons of people.
And happy. Everybody's happy.
They're happy. Well, how could you not be happy?
They're blasting the music.
Yep, right there. That's wonderful.
And it used to be called Farmer's Pond. Remember when we was growing up?
Yep.
But it was the same.
Same deal.
Has she owned it the whole time?
I don't think so. I'm not exactly sure when she took over.
I'm
but
not
it's
sure either.
yeah.
I just remember going there when I was younger, and it was always Farmer's Pond.
Yep, that's right.
But when they changed the name to Red Clay Resort, that was a good thing.
I think that's when she took over. Her and Lamar. Yeah, I believe.
I think maybe she's related to him.
Yeah. Oh, is that right?
I think so. I think so.
I wasn't sure.
Because they have the travel agency too.
Oh yeah, Outland Travel, sure.
Do you think that people are going to eventually go completely to Sirius Radio, or Sirius Radio is going to lose its luster?
If it weren't for a man by the name of John Malone, Sirius would have gone out of business. He gave him a $400 million loan, basically, and took over. Liberty Media bailed him out. Sirius, to me, is not a big competitor of ours. It may be in other cities. Sirius XM, while they obviously have millions of listeners, their subscriber base continues to erode, and really their subscribers, millions of them are those free subscribers who,
For a month.
They get a year in some vehicles, but they do not. When it comes time to pay, they won't. But then all of a sudden, okay, fine, you don't have to pay.
Well, why would you pay so much a month when you can just turn on the radio?
I don't understand.
Or play YouTube while you're driving. That's the same thing, isn't it?
It's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, I would say it's that word niche. So there's niche. There's a lot of niche programming nowadays. Lots of niche programming, and so now people can pretty much make up their own media diet. Look at television, how television changed. We're coming off the lowest rated, least watched Olympics in history of the summer games for
They say it's down 49%.
And there's a number of reasons. One of those is that NBC has launched this streaming product called Peacock, which has been very slow to catch on. I mean, they've got 40 million subscribers, but many of those are free. 2/3 of those are free. And so but kind of to take a 100,000-foot look at it, it is, people can customize their own media diet. And so, Sirius XM, you asked me the question, do I think it'll ever overtake? No, I don't. Today, the latest Nielsen numbers for the United States, AM/FM radio is the #1 most consumed media in this country.
It's hard to sell something that's free.
It's tough. It's tough. 85% of this country listens to regular AM/FM radio. It beats every other type of media in this nation.
And that's not going to change. It may fluctuate 10% or 5%.
It could. I mean, it'll definitely fluctuate, but it has stayed very steady because, #1, radio is so convenient. Now, look, my phone, your phone, we were talking about our app before we came on the air. We have people who, not just our station, obviously, but people they can take it anywhere. Even now, more than they could before. Used to be the Walkman and the headphones and going to the ball games and, watching a game and listening to it while people go to UT, take their headphones, listen to John Ward, and wonder why Well, he scored 10 minutes ago, but he's got him at the 40. I mean, and of course John was building that drama.
Yeah.
But and they still do the same thing with Kessling. But now you take headphones and plug them into your cell phone, and you can. But radio is so convenient, and that's one reason radio will always, in my opinion, be a very vibrant part.
And free.
And free. And free.
And what makes it free is the sponsors.
That's it. That's the one revenue stream we have. That's it.
And the only one.
The only one. Others have subscriptions. Other forms of media have subscriptions. Now, used to broadcast television, your ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox broadcast would just have the one revenue stream, which was advertising. But now they have what's called retransmission fees. So that's added in. So now they have more than one. We're still stuck with one. AM, FM radio, we still just have the advertising.
Oh, you could sell a shirt or a mug, but nobody buy
nobody
it.
buy it. Nobody buy
You
it.
have to rely on sponsors.
That's it.
Isn't it something? You get out there, you tell the news, you have a morning show. So somebody will sponsor to pay all of this to sell a pair of shoes.
That's it. You got it.
That's it.
That's it.
Nothing more. To sell a pair of shoes or sell a hat.
But in selling it, here's what I like to think of about advertising. A good advertisement. Let's say, and let me back way up now. Go back to Tom Rowland, who taught me this whole thing. So you go to Tom. Tom would say, never think that you're talking to the thousands of people who are listening. I'm going to talk to Dee Burris. Now, he would get a man, a woman, and a child in his mind as he would talk, and he would talk to them. So let's talk about advertising. Advertising, a good advertisement is you're informing that person you're talking with, not talking to, talking with, like you do here, about a product or a service. I got on the radio, 3 months ago. We had been, I was trying to think where we were. Well, I'd actually, somebody, they gave me an award. This was over in Nashville back in March. And Scott Carroll from Cleveland Middle nominated me for this Athletic Director's Award. I was extremely honored to be there. And so we come back, and we came back around lunchtime. Jennifer, my wife, goes over here to Misfit Tacos, okay? Now with me, I'm a little different. There's probably not this is going to be a big statement. For me to, now I can talk to somebody on the air about a product. I have to believe in it, okay? If I'm going to do it, I would never come on, and the people, I've been on the radio now 27 years here, and so they know me by now, So, but if I'm going to really endorse a product, and I hate to use that word, but I want to always inform the audience. So she goes to Misfit Tacos, brings it home. I had heard of it. I knew Greg had started this, Greg and Patty Hicks. And so I tried it, and I mean, it was like fireworks. I love tacos anyway. It was just wonderful. Well, what happened? The next morning I got on there and talk about it. And I'm not sure if they had, I think they had started advertising a little bit, but they had whatever. Well, that to me, I informed the audience, and then of course, yeah, they had a lot of people go down there and try it.
You think it was directly related to your comments?
I'm not. I'm not going to take. No,
That's where I heard about it.
Well, and I think he sent a video and he showed all the receipts of people that day that had come. Look, Luther Massengale, 92.3, Luther in the morning, who could close.
Grape jelly.
Exactly, grape jelly. Luther?
Yeah. Remember he did the grape jelly, gave the age thing?
That's right, that's right. Well, no, that's Willard. No, you're talking about Willard Scott. Luther was Luther Massengale at WDF Radio, and he was there at Pearl Harbor, and he was there at 9/11 in Chattanooga. But Luther went by a little plant stand in Chattanooga one time, years and years ago, early 80s. And he just bought plants, and he goes in and talks about it the next morning. Buddy, all of a sudden, it's the immediacy of radio. All of a sudden.
That's what I'm saying.
That's it. Those people lined up, and that became the Barn Nursery, where it's time to go play in the yard. Jim Webster. Yes, sir. So that the taco experience is a small example of, and it's not obviously not just me, but when you talk about advertising, I like to go on and approach an advertisement and say, okay, I want to tell you about something. I want to tell you about a product. I want to tell you about a service. I want to tell you about and it's not just, commercials. It is also to come on and say, I want to tell you about Habitat for Humanity. I want to tell you about the Caring Place. I want to tell you, I want to tell you about that church that's having a vacation Bible school or whatever they're doing. And that's really why we're there.
At age 15, what made you want to do this?
I've always wanted to. I used to interview my dog, my best guest.
But what was the roots of all of this?
Well, you go back, and the roots was my grandfather, Brother Littlefield, and I heard you mention him.
Yeah.
I've heard you mention him a few times on this podcast. And I'll get
He
emotional.
just comes up.
Yeah. I can get emotional talking about my papaw. Yeah. And that's where it started. He.
But how did he connect to radio?
He was on the radio since 1945. He every morning with Corky Wetlock, good morning to everyone. And he woke up thousands of people every morning. And he would do it. He would do a little devotion. And I knew I was going to do this when I came over here, and I hate to do it. But he would do a little devotion every morning, 6 days a week, on WBAC, the first station in Cleveland. And Corky would have his show, and at 5 to 6 or 10 to 6, he'd come on. And for generations of Bradley Countyans, he woke this city up. He and Corky did, before 6 in the morning.
What a testament.
And he would do it so that's what got me started. He would put me on. And one time, I saw you interview Dale Hughes, Dale R.
Yeah.
And I was about, 6 or 7 years old. And it was Bradley Cleveland week, and so football. And so there was a couple of guys that came to our church, Faith Memorial, and I looked up to them, Stephen and Travis Culpepper, and I admired them. I looked up to them, and they went to Bradley, and I saw Papaw's on there. Yes, Steve Jr., do you have anything to say to the people? It was on the radio, and I said, yes, Papaw. I hope Bradley beats their butts on Friday night. This is, on a gospel broadcast. Yeah. And as Dale Hughes would say, now let's go to Psalm 91. One of those deals.
What did you interview the dog about?
Now back then I would say I was either Oral Roberts or Lawrence Welk. Those were
What was the dog's name?
Solomon. Solomon, the wisest dog in the world. He was my golden retriever. I was probably 3 or 4 years old.
Yellow dog?
No, he was actually a true golden retriever. And so I'd take a stick out in the backyard and talk to him.
How old were you?
I was probably, I was probably about 4, maybe.
See, I built houses then.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah, I built houses.
Really?
I'd take 2x4s and I'd built houses, and I've had one with a shower in it, and I took a water hose and I put over the top. And
Yeah, I think something gets in your heart, and I believe the Lord does. I believe God gives everyone a calling and gives them the tools and the talents and the interest and the gifts to do it with.
Have you ever noticed that as you get older, everything looked like chaos. And you say, how in the world did I do it? And then you get a little older and you look back and say, oh man, that was exactly scheduled out.
That's right. That's it.
That was exact.
That's it.
That was, I couldn't have scheduled it any better.
That's it. That's exactly right.
But while you're in it, it's just trying your best to stay afloat.
Dr. Paul Kahn, who's one of the greatest speakers ever, and I've seen him with you.
Yeah.
He made in one of our chapel services, I went to Lee and graduated from Lee in the year 2000. And he made a wonderful, I guess, an illustration of that, exactly what you're saying about, if you're driving at night, you can only see as far as the headlights will go. But if you were to be on an elevated hill or an elevated plateau and you could look down the way the Lord does, you could see that car and where the car is going. And that's the same idea.
Maybe we shouldn't worry so much.
I think that's exactly right. I believe there's actually scripture about that. But yes, I totally agree.
What is that scripture?
I don't know. Can we stop tape? I'll Google it.
I believe that's.
Yeah.
I believe that's when David said, "Why do you seek so much wisdom? Wisdom causes something." In other words, don't worry about it.
Just don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. It's going to work out.
Do you back to this? Your grandfather being an influence.
Yes, sir.
We watch Clint Eastwood movies. We watch Dirty Harry. We watch all these.
Yeah.
That's our hero. But it happens to be that guy that didn't even know they influenced us.
That's it.
And what are we doing that influences somebody? We don't even know they're watching us.
That's right. That's it.
Because it's those little moments that all through our lives we think about, oh, I remember seeing this guy do that. He didn't even know me.
That's it. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think you're going to be, when you went to college, Lee College, were you going to be in radio?
Mm-hmm. I worked in radio the whole time. I never...
If you hadn't have gone to college, would it have made any difference? You'd still be sitting right here today.
I don't know. I think especially in modern times, yes, you do need a college degree. I really, well, let me carefully say that. I think for broadcasting, yes. Especially if you're going out for jobs and you're going to do things. I think you need your bachelor's degree. Yeah. Do you need more than someone asked me the other day? They said, well, someone going into broadcasting, and they're about to finish up in college, and they said, do you think I should go to graduate school? I said, well, here's my take on that. I said, what do you want to do in broadcasting? And they said, well, I want to be on the air, radio, television, whatever. I said, well, I would not go to graduate school for that. I said, I would. If you want to teach it, yes, go to graduate school. But if you want to do it, it's the experience. It's the experience that matters. That's what potential employers are looking for in the world of broadcasting. And now, oh my goodness, let me tell you, there are so many channels. There are so many opportunities that there are people that they have to have people filling these channels. Dr. Mary Dukes at Lee University, one of my professors, which by the way, her and Jonathan would be great interviews. She said to me, Mary, she said to our class, she said, and this is back, I graduated 20 years ago this year from Lee, okay? She said, there will come a time. She said two things a lot of things I remember, but two things, well, one time she gave us less of a grade than we should have had, by the way. I hope she sees this. Jeff Salyer, where are you? Jeff was in my group back then. Anyway, she said there will come a time when there are hundreds of channels, maybe thousands, and these niche channels are going to have people fill those channels. She also said something very interesting. She said there'll come a time when 10 million viewers is going to be a big number on television. This is at a time when I was at Lee and I took our class about 98, ER was getting 35 million a week. And now on NBC, the top ranked shows are barely breaking 10 million people because there are so many choices. So, and
How do they make it financially?
that's a whole other. Well, I think financially, that's a different deal. But the licensing, the tens of millions of dollars that they're still paying because they still have to, capture the audience.
Do you think, and I know it might not be directly related, but like Duck Dynasty,
Yeah, sure.
they came on and they had
Ball
people
of
that
fire.
weren't actors. They didn't have to pay actors.
Yeah.
It took off.
Yeah.
And almost like if that was reality TV,
Yeah, sure.
this is reality radio
That's it.
or reality video.
But let me tell you, so in a nod to the old facet or the old saying that everything comes back around, reality was happening in the 1940s on the radio. The man on the street interviews. There's nothing new here.
They sang into the can. Remember that?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, brother, where art thou? Remember?
Yes. George Clooney. Sure.
Yeah, he came in off the street and he was live on the can.
Yeah, that's reality. That's what the so-called, now I think all of it's scripted, obviously, as we've come to find out. But they were doing reality television in the 1950s. They were going into crowds and they were bringing people in the
They took Dolly Parton to the radio station, had her sing. Remember that?
That's it, Kaz Walker.
Yeah,
Absolutely, sure. But this element that we're calling reality television now, which really took off with, Ozzy Osbourne and Fear Factor and Duck Dynasty and these shows in the early 2000s, that stuff's been around for American Idol. That's just the singing shows.
You're on Candid Camera.
Candid
Remember
Camera
that?
in the 1960s.
Yeah.
Alan Funt. Absolutely.
We haven't invented anything.
We have not. It just comes back around. We're all people. We're still people with hearts and minds and that sort of thing. We just have different gadgets now.
Do you think regular TV will cut? I can't see ever. I mean, even going to the movies now,
Yeah.
I don't even really care anymore.
It's all changed.
It's like, will that come back? Will the pendulum swing back that way? I guess it will, right?
I look at, I think it will, and I look at what's happening just up in Athens at the Midway Drive-in movies.
You're exactly right.
In places,
if you started to drive-in churches,
well, we saw that during the pandemic, sure.
I believe I'd rather go to a drive-in movie.
And they're a lot more fun. Do you know that? So let's talk about drive-in and how things don't change. Do you know that Marvin Gibson, when he pastored First Baptist Church, was doing services in the Kmart parking lot on Sunday nights in the summer in the early 1980s, late 70s?
We've not created nothing new.
Just to reach people.
Solomon said there's nothing new under the sun.
Amen. And I named my dog after, my dad did, after the wisest man in the world, Solomon Hartline.
Can you give us one of those interviews you did your dog?
I didn't tape it.
But can you remember it?
I don't. I probably was pretending like I was Oral Roberts and laying hands on him and
Can
trying
you
to
do
heal
one
him.
for us?
Well, I mean, I'd get the stick, and I'd say, "Sir, what's wrong with you?" And he'd just look at me. He was a very sweet dog. And then I'd say, "Okay, I want you to believe." Remember now a little TL coming out all of a sudden.
TL,
Your buddy and mine, TL Lowry. And then I'd probably grab him by the head. And now, I tell you what I did do. Just over here where we, by the way, it looks like we came to the Bat Cave to get here. I had to ask directions 10 times.
Oh, yeah, I've got too many weeds growing.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I was at Family Life Center, I'd see my papaw. I was in preschool at Family Life Center. I'd see my grandfather Littlefield baptize people on Sundays. Our baptismal was in the Little People's Church. So he'd baptize the people. So I'd go to preschool at First Baptist with Miss Nell and Miss Peggy Gross. They're still right here in Cleveland, and Lonnie. And I was in Miss Peggy's class, and they'd go out and we'd swim in the pool that used to be out here at Family Life Center. It's now TCPS. So I would watch my papa on Sundays baptized. So I'd get those children, buddy, I'm going to tell you right now, I'd get them in that pool, and by the belly, I'd have them raise their hand, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, and they're down. Now, I'd hold them a little too long. I'd hold them down there until they were really sanctified. So I don't know how many people counted that as a baptism or not.
Would it count? I wonder if it would count.
I don't know. I don't think it would. I wasn't ordained. Now, you know who would count it? Jeff Lovingood. He'd probably count that one, wouldn't he?
He's come up with a term that is catching on. Go God. Have you noticed that?
I have noticed.
He'll say that a lot. And
yeah.
It works for him.
Yeah, he himself is very contagious, and we need to probably get rid of him. He's
What is he, the assistant?
Bad shape. I love him, but he's senior. He's senior. I think senior executive pastor of First Baptist. Yeah.
Not the main one.
Jordan Easley is the pastor.
Do they still have lunch on Wednesdays?
I think they do.
Did you ever go over to that?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Boy, that's a good deal, isn't it?
Oh, man.
I think they went to $7. It was $6.
You know a deal.
Oh, I know a deal. But you can go in there, and it was no tip.
Yeah.
$6.
Yeah.
All you can eat. You can go back and forth.
Can't beat it.
Good parking.
Great food.
No line.
Vic Johnson over there.
Yeah.
Great food.
Nice bathrooms.
And you know about nice bathrooms. You built several.
But isn't that something that's and I think they quit during COVID, but maybe they don't do it in the summer. Or maybe they do it in the summer, but not the winter.
They bring it, well, they do. They bring it back like about this time of the year. So I don't know if they brought it back yet, but they'll bring that sort of thing back in August. And
you got me thinking of the Misfit Tacos. Are they open Sundays?
No, they're not open on the weekend yet. He doesn't. He's like everybody else. He's trying to find some help.
Well, what is it about the tacos? I mean, was it like a hard shell or soft shell, or what is it?
I tell you about Misfit, and I tell you about other places. The quality of the food. So you take a guy like Greg, who Impressions Catering. Mm-hmm. So, up here. And then he was just, and I love this story, he was just, messing around with tacos at home. Pandemic hits. Catering business gone. He and his wife, I think it was Patty who said, he came in and basically gave his testimony to me one morning. After I tried it, I had said, we got to get them in here. So anyway, she says, let's try this for the public, And we did not, we didn't discover them at all. They were doing this, they were going, I think a lot of social media, a lot of ordering that way. So she says, let's do this for the public. And they did. But it's the quality of the food. It's the
fresh
quality
food.
of the ingredients that I think makes it. I really do.
I went to Jenkins Deli at Willie's up on North Lee Highway.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And Willie, the daddy.
Oh, sure.
I call him the daddy.
Willie Jenkins.
He had come in from somewhere. He didn't know I was watching him. And he had a box of tomatoes. And he walks behind the counter and he looks at every tomato. Mm. It's like he looked at them when he bought them. Mm-hmm. And then he looked at them before he took them to the back. And I thought, he cares. This is his thing. Mm-hmm. Of course, I think now they're closed, aren't they?
That I don't know. I'm not sure. But I tell you, Dee, especially in the restaurant world here in Cleveland, there are some wonderful, wonderful stories of these local places that are so good that you and I, you mentioned Jenkins, of course Willie's, and then of course Jenkins over here, that going down the years that are just, every bit a part of this fabric of this town.
It almost doesn't matter if it's good. It's like going to your mother's and eating, and it's not that good today, but you'd still rather eat there.
Exactly. You'd still rather be there. Why? Because of the people.
You go down to Monos.
Yeah.
Before I get in, it's Mr. Burris, Mr. Burris.
Isn't he wonderful?
Yeah.
I was talking about him earlier today.
Unless he's hollering at the people in the back.
That could happen.
Golly.
But see, here's a conversation. I said, now Monos has mellowed quite a bit.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
gotten older.
Yeah.
He's not like he was.
And he doesn't have Dino
I know.
to cheer him on.
I know. I know. But that's a good example of it.
And you know, they say that the next wave of our business is that these stores, that if it can be shipped, then they won't have a storefront because there's no need, and that all of these pockets are going to become restaurants.
Really?
You know, like a soup restaurant, a taco, Misfit Taco,
something.
It just, and that's sort of the way they do in Europe, I think. Is
Oh,
a lot
is that
of
right?
lot of small restaurant, mom and pop type restaurants. So I think that's the new thing coming.
Yep.
Except I don't know how they can get all this kitchen equipment in there and all this exhaust vents. And
Well, see, you would know about that. That's your area.
it's $400,000.
My word! Wow.
Those sinks, you know, they had to have like 5 sinks in a restaurant, and they're stainless steel, and they're like $2,000 a piece. And
Wow.
the hoods are like, well, I'm figuring a job for a city cafe in Chattanooga, and the hood where they cook over the grill is $125,000.
My
Just the hood.
goodness.
I hadn't talked about the sink or the stove. Just this thing that sucks the fire up in case it burns.
Wow. And of
That's
course,
not the labor. That's just the buying it.
man. That's all.
And if you say, well, you're getting the wrong price. No, I'm not. That's the price.
That's the price.
I know
It's right
what
there.
it is.
Sure.
So, but I think that that these places will start to have more small restaurants. I've often thought, what if you had a restaurant that you just walked in and you had 4 soups, Campbell's,
Yeah.
and 1 sandwich, and you checked out. And
Yeah.
if you wanted a Coke or potato chips, you got it from the machine.
That's right.
And they had a nice table, clean with air conditioning. How are you going to beat that?
And that way, it saves you, if you're, let's say you're working, it saves you from having to run home, or you've got a place you can. There we go.
If you want to bring
That's
your
$1 million
if
idea.
you want to bring your food in, you can.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, if you want to bring your lunch in, you
Yeah.
can. We've got the Coke machine and the
Yeah.
You got a Coke machine, potato chips,
Brilliant.
and candy bars.
Now, see,
And it's $4.
See, you're a thinker.
Yeah.
See, that's the difference. You're a thinker. You think of this stuff.
I couldn't do it. I don't have time, but that's what I would do. And you'd be packed, and I'd have different days where you had like Mondays would be 80s, Tuesdays would be 70s music.
You're giving this idea away right now. Somebody's going to do this, and you've just given it away.
And you'd be standard. You'd be Campbell's soup. That nobody
Sure.
questions. Everybody
Campbell's
likes
soup is good food.
Nobody has a problem with the Campbell.
You got it. No, or you're not a good American.
Let me ask you this: when you get up in the morning,
Yeah.
or you ever think, I can't deal with this today.
Absolutely.
I'm not in a good mood. I'm in a foul mood, and I've got to walk in here and I've got to be happy and I got to sound enthusiastic because I know, because that's got to happen.
Yeah, it happens, especially during football season. And I'll tell you why, because I'll try to stay up and watch the Sunday night game on NBC, and I'll stay up too late, or the Thursday night game. I'm a big football fan. So the Thursday night game or something, and I'll go in. But here's the difference in me, and let's just take, I won't name a show, I'll say a national show, just any of them, any national morning show. Mm-hmm. They're going to come on. Well, even at the affiliate level, they have to come on, and they have to, even though they don't want to do it, they're mad, they're tired, they kicked their dog, they're got in a fight with their spouse or whatever. They have to come in. Hey everybody, how are you? It's a happy talk. Now the difference with me is I will come on. Gwen's laughing. I will come on and I will tell you exactly how I feel. And I'll say, oh, Lord, I'm tired. Oh, my goodness, I don't want to be here. It's honesty. Yeah, let me say, Anybody who wants to be on the air. Now, on the air is different forms now. What you're doing here is on the air, and you're doing a wonderful job. Anybody, you've got to be yourself. You've got to be, because let me tell you something. That audience is going to know immediately if you're genuine. That's what he teaches in his classes. That's what they should teach in every broadcast class. And you just got to be yourself. So you just asked me, what do? You go in. You do it, and you thank God you don't have a real...
You embrace it. Whatever the issue is, embrace it.
Yeah, but what I do is, I'll tell Bridget or Dwayne or Austin in the back. I call him A.C. Slater, Austin Chadwick. His birthday's today, by the way, too. And I'll just say, well, and they'll know. Now, Bridget's been 15 years. She'll know immediately when I walk in if it's a good day or not.
How does she react?
Oh, she thinks it's funny at this point. I mean, she's making fun of me. Ha ha, you didn't get enough sleep or whatever. Or now there are some mornings where if something's wrong technically, then they all leave the room. And then I'm just in there by myself. Yeah. They don't care. I mean, but here's the point.
What if something's not plugged in, like there's no sound?
Oh, yeah.
Does that ever happen?
Oh, hello, Dee. Of course it happens all the way.
So it's like something's not plugged in?
We could blame you for the first
year.
Yeah,
you could, first week.
Dwayne calling Tony and you and everybody
Roger.
Oh, Lord, Roger.
Roger retired.
Did he really?
So he says, yeah.
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
Nobody.
They're always back.
Nobody can retire.
Nobody can retire.
You can't stop.
He told me he was retiring, and I sent him a letter and said, I don't accept it. I said, I'm giving you a sabbatical till January the 1st.
Okay, good. Well,
and I hadn't heard back from him, so I don't know.
Well, so basically you weren't going to have a party, weren't going to have any kind of reception.
No, because he's not quitting. We're not letting him.
It ain't happening. Just see you in January.
Remember when Troy Dixon made those? You remember Troy Dixon?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
He made the predictions in the election. Yes, he always did good.
Yes,
well, that one year he was completely wrong, and Donna Hubbard. No, he sent a letter to Donna Hubbard resigning.
Yeah.
As a prognosticator.
That he was not going to prognosticate.
Yeah. And then she wrote him a letter back and didn't accept it.
I didn't know that.
What time do you get up in the morning?
Normally it's about 10 to 5, and I have to have, as I get older, it becomes more pronounced. I'm 43. I know people.
You look 33.
Oh, stop it. People, we've already gotten the job. We've already paid you, I think. People will, they'll say, well, you sound like you're about 71. I get up about 10 to 5, but the older I get, the more important it is for me to have about an hour to myself at home. Now, when I say that, as I hit the floor, literally, I am starting to prepare for the morning show the sports, the news, what's happened overnight, all that.
Give me the preparation. What time's the alarm go off?
4:50.
You set the alarm?
Yeah, on the phone.
What comes on?
4:50. It's just one of those iPhone noises. I don't know.
Like some kind of a ring.
Yeah.
What if you don't wake up?
I have backups for backups.
What's that?
Well, it'll keep going off, or it'll go off again, or that sort of thing. And then
you get scared that you'll oversleep?
I have twice, and Tom Rowland gave me a great thing to do. Because he would do this. He would sometimes, years and years ago, on his morning show, he may oversleep or be late or something would happen. He'd say, Steve, right when you get there, just even if it's right then, you say, well, as I was saying earlier, and they will have no idea. As I said an hour ago. But about 10 to 5, the deal goes off.
Why 10 to 5? Why not 5?
Stupid. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of these things. I've got these tics, hang-ups. So 10 to 5, I don't know why, but 10 to 5 it goes off. First thing is check sports from overnight.
Where do you check them?
ESPN, you got the whole scoreboard
on your
there.
phone?
On my phone. Just right there.
You in your pajamas?
Boom, boom. Yeah, at that point, sure.
Sitting up on the bed?
No, I go to my back porch about 9 months out of the year.
What if it's real cold?
Well, I'm inside. Then I go to a den. They're,
And you open up the ESPN Sports?
Go to ESPN on my phone, check all the scores, and then we start.
You write them down?
No, I put them. What I do is I email those to our staff. So I put the sports together myself, and I email that to Dwayne, Austin, and Kristen.
At 5 o'clock or 5:20?
Yeah, whenever I'm probably around 5. 5, depends on what time of the year it is.
5:15?
Yeah, all at least by 5:15 they get it. Yeah. If it's football season, there's more.
You don't turn on the radio to see what's on, right? Because you are the radio.
Yeah, well, and one way to say it, yeah.
So you email that to them, and then what happens?
And then we start checking the news headlines.
Who's we?
Me. So I start checking to see, good example. This is Sunday as we tape this. Okay. Any day of the week, except Saturday, because we don't have a show on Sunday. So Sunday through Friday or Thursday, really. I will work on the show really throughout the day. Now, if something's real breaking or real pressing, we'll get it on the air immediately. But if it's something for the next day, be it a sports story, be it a news story, whatever, we start building that show. So after sports, and I start checking the headlines from. Really, we're more concerned with local and area, local and regional. So, you could get up in the morning and something's happened overnight. That happens quite a bit. Whereas maybe it's a crash that kills someone.
Yeah.
Maybe it's sadly, maybe a murder. Maybe something like that has happened since we all went to sleep or whatever. So we scan that. I scan that. Go to, several different sources for that. And then, when that's done, I do something called show prep. So a lot of times, whereas you would say, well, Steve, I'm sure that you just thought of all this stuff to say. Well, sometimes, but about 90% of the time, we subscribe to a couple of different services that have things that radio stations all over the country may want to include in their broadcast. And so those come to our email about 3 in the morning because obviously some of the major market stations start at 5 a.m. We start at 6, and so that's the other part of getting ready for the show. If something comes to me or I get an idea, I'll note it, mark it in my phone, and then we may or may not use it the next day. Depends on how I feel. I do a lot. I would have a hard time, that's preparation, but I would have a hard time explaining to another human being how I do it and what I do. Kind of like you may have a hard time when you're building something.
It'd be hard to explain what I'm doing tonight after everybody leaves.
I do so much by feeling when I'm in there in the morning, and I may play a song because of the way the show's going, or what I'm talking about, a specific song, or I may hit a spot here, a commercial, or I may do a weather here just because of the way it's going. There's a flow, there's a rhythm.
I call it a rhythm.
I call it a rhythm. And here's a good example. Earlier, just literally today, this morning, we got a call, or actually not a call, it was I got an email from Senator Marsha Blackburn's office. She wants to come on in the morning and talk about this infrastructure deal that they could have a vote on by tomorrow or Tuesday. So her office emails us. She wants to come on and talk to Southeast Tennessee. I already had a game plan, a little bit
for tomorrow.
We already have slotted guests. We have stuff going. So, but when you have a United States senator who wants to get on, much like this is exactly how I feel about the schools. Cleveland City, Bradley County schools, being that if they call and they want on, they get on, okay? Because I believe that's a whole other topic, but so you're talking about preparing for a show, you're talking about building a show. That's one of my functions. One of my functions is, somebody said, my mother asked me, Lois Ann Taylor, she said, do you run your own board? Meaning that soundboard. I said yes, because She said, why don't you get somebody to come in and help you? I couldn't explain it because I do so much by feeling. It's, you know what I mean.
It's a rhythm.
It's a rhythm. And so, and then I can, so let's say Senator Blackburn calls. Well, yeah, she's going to get on. You asked me about scheduling guests.
Yeah.
There are some guests that we scheduled a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Will you have to have her on the minute she comes on, or
Yes.
we just have to have...
That is one.
So you'll have to say, hey, so-and-so, stand in the lobby 10 more minutes?
That has happened, and I hate that. I hate to make people wait. But
Do you give them coffee?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, buddy. Because of you,
Yeah.
we have a nice conference area now.
That's what that's for.
Yeah.
It's almost a green room.
It is. It's the Eller and Owens green room, quite frankly. Yeah. But let's say for
Is that the table, Eller and Owens?
yeah, the furniture place.
Yeah.
But there's you just asked me a good question there about there are some of the national guests. It is to the minute because what is she doing? She's probably calling other stations, and I know she's going to be on. I think she's going to be on Fox News in the morning. She is. I mean, sitting there, probably in her office or wherever in Washington.
You don't want it to be 15 minutes late.
It can't be. You have to be to the minute. They call you to the minute, and you have 10 minutes or whatever.
At the end of the day, it's your damn show. Right?
I think that was a show at one point. I mean,
how long will you stay there in the mornings on the air? Do you feel comfortable in the chair when you're on the show?
How long will I stay?
When I see you in the morning, when I hear you, are you sitting in a comfortable chair?
Oh yeah.
Is that your?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm very comfortable. I have found about myself. I've done this a long time. I've been on in the morning. This is my 18th year. 03 is when I started in the morning. But I find that I really enjoy that. I'm blessed, Dee. I don't work I don't have a real job. I enjoy I don't work a day. I enjoy what I do. But that's the fun part. The morning show to me is the fun. That's the fun part. Now, the rest of the day, we're doing a lot of and no day is the same after about 9 a.m., after the morning show.
Now, what time do you take a shower in the morning? Or do you take a shower at night?
I bathe about once every other week. Have you heard these celebrities here lately coming on saying that there are some actors here recently saying, I only bathe every few days.
Because of global warming or something?
I don't. They didn't say. They just say I bathe. And their children, they're like Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. They came out a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Well, Ashton Kutcher, he was at 70 Show. And he was
Crutcher.
On 2.5 Men.
Isn't it Crutcher?
Gwen.
Which is it, Gwen?
It's Kutcher.
Crutcher or Krucher?
Yeah,
it's both.
He ain't going to argue with it. I guarantee I know who wins this argument. Listen, and these people are saying, well, we bathe the children just when they smell bad. And then you got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson came out just yesterday and said, let me say this, I take about 3 showers a day. I get in the shower at about, at that point, about 10 to 6.
Because you've done all the stuff.
It takes me about a good hour. And I've done some Bible study. Your friend and mine, Joe Moore, Medical Center Pharmacy. Mm-hmm. Joe Moore told me how, he says, I can't start my day without reading the Gospels, going into the New Testament.
So you get in the shower at 10 till 6?
Yeah.
Then you read the Bible?
No, the Bible's before the shower.
How much do you read?
I don't read a lot. I've got a couple of devotions. Max Lucado, who I love. Chuck Swindoll, who I love.
Well, I've solved this problem.
Here we go.
Because I've had this. I've got Bibles on tapes.
Yeah.
And I just turn it on.
There you go.
Get in the shower. Don't even listen. But
there you go.
It's automatic. Turn it on, turn it off.
There it is.
Because it's that guy that's got that good voice that
he
reads
no,
the Bible.
Exactly. Is it Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.?
Yeah.
Is that who it is?
Yeah, and so you can hear him talking. And
yes.
So that
I'd
saves.
go to sleep in the shower though if I heard him talking to me like that. They'd find me.
Now, do you eat breakfast?
Oh yeah. I eat at the station. I eat in my office 5 days a week. Yeah, that's at the station.
What do you eat? I mean, do you stop and get something? Or?
Well, no, I don't have time. I get on kicks to where, like right now, now see this again, I'm nuts, as you know. You dealt with me for a long time, I'm nuts. So right now I'm on a Pop-Tart kick. I'm on a chocolate Pop-Tart. I like the flavors. I'm a flavor guy, like we were talking about Misfit or whatever. I'm a chocolate Pop-Tart with strawberries and my Starbucks.
What do you mean strawberries?
I just get strawberries.
Will you keep them at the office?
Yeah, keep them in the fridge.
Who puts them there?
Me.
When?
I get them every couple of days. I like them fresh.
You just go to the store and buy them?
Yeah, sure. And then there are times when I'll get a bagel. I like a bagel, and I'll eat a bagel with the strawberries this time of year. Now, later on in the year, I may.
Now, sometimes I come by there and there's donuts.
Yeah, I don't partake.
No. So who brings the donuts?
You know what? Here's what happens. Here's the difference in our location now to where we were. We were up on the hill behind
up and down.
Pastor Griffith, Bill Griffith used to call it Hughes Mountain. Dale R. Hughes.
Hughes Mountain.
Okay, we were up there in Dr. Don Robinson. We were in his basement. We moved out of our parents' basement because of you, as Ashley and Bridget have said. Nowadays, we're just down the road here, Mouse Creek Road, and people will stop by, and they'll bring us stuff. Ken Bolin over at Garden Plaza, he likes to he'll bring stuff. Now, why do people bring stuff? Well, they think we're going to talk about them, and guess what? Probably will.
You mean like a donut? It's usually donuts.
They'll bring donuts. Now, I tell you, this bread basket, have you tried that?
Boy, I went by there, and I heard you on the radio talking about them. And so I was over there, and I stopped, and boy, they are good.
Larry McDaniel and David Carroll down at Stewart Park Plaza talks about the importance of the bread basket coming in there. Now, I love Scotty, and I love Teresa, so I love Townhouse, and I love Village. But bread basket, they'll bring us the cake of the month, or they'll bring us pastries. I've tried stuff there I've never tried before.
It's just different.
It's different.
It's different.
It's different.
Different.
Scotty will bring me donuts. Teresa will bring me something. Sure. So people bring, a lot of our staff, first of all, the staff, they hate me. You understand this. You know this. They all hate me. And so they're not going to bring anything. They're a bunch of cheapskates. So it's the public bringing the stuff in.
Why do you call her Ashley R?
Well, her last name's Rue. And it just
R-U-L-E?
R-U-E.
Rue.
And she just directed our duck race. She's also our event coordinator. We all wear different hats. We all do. All of us there. Small station, or small staff.
Do you set all that up, or is it just kind of start to form? You seem to me like a guy that you just kind of let it form, and that's the way it is unless there's a problem.
Duck race is interesting. It started 15 years ago. Jimmy Logan helped me with that.
The duck race.
Yeah.
You know, I hear that on the radio.
Sure.
I have no idea what it is.
Sure.
I have no idea. I bet you're wore out with it right about this point, right?
Oh, yeah. But you know what? Let me tell you very quickly about the duck race because it's interesting. I was at a meeting one time in downtown Chattanooga about advertising at a company, and we talked. This has been years ago. We talked for probably about 5 years ago. We talked for a few minutes, and they said, "Oh, the duck race station." Yeah, the duck race station. 15 years ago, we had a gentleman at our station at the time. We were owned by, at that time, a father and son out of Anniston, Alabama, named Walt Williams, Walt Sr. and Walt Jr. Wonderful men, wonderful people. They still have stations in Alabama. Well, I was the manager of the station at the time. So this would have been about 05 when the idea came. And we had a man there working with us. And he said, have you ever thought about a duck race? I had heard of the Knoxville duck race, and Tom Rowland did a duck race at one time. He did it on the Tennessee River, and the Coast Guard came out and shut him down. Ask him that sometime. That was a good story. But Knoxville is for the boys and girls clubs up there, and they have tens of thousands of ducks in the river. And I saw a duck race the other day in Chicago.
Are they real live ducks?
Rubber ducks.
Oh, rubber.
And we get that question every year, usually from people who are new or they may be new to the station or whatever, and they say, hey, they live ducks. Of course, I'm a smart aleck, so I say yes, of course they are. And we just get them in and drown them and all that. And then PETA comes in.
Well, how do they race them?
Well, we dump them in Mouse Creek, and they just float down. Now, last Friday night, it was pretty slow. I mean, the creek wasn't moving.
So let's see. You buy a duck.
You don't buy them; they're free.
You
it's
get a
just
duck.
a station promotion.
So you go by and get your duck.
At Don Ledford Automotive Center.
Is it a little yellow duck So everybody's is the same size?
To scale. That's
How do you know
important.
it's your duck?
They put a number on it, and then you take it home with you.
All right,
and then you have to bring it to the race.
All right, how do they all put them in the same water at the same time?
What we do is we get usually in 4 or 5 big barrels, and so we, I guess they.
So it's random itself.
That's random, totally, and they just dump them at the same time.
So they have like something heavy on that makes them float, or it makes the bottom come up, the top come up, or
well,
something.
I mean, they're just your average typical bathtub rubber duck, and they just float down Mouse Creek, and then.
And you buy a duck?
No, they're free. So we give those away, as you've heard. Hey, call in, that sort of thing.
Yeah, get your ducks by Friday morning.
By Friday morning.
Yeah.
And then they float down. And it would be very hard to take the first duck across. We're not the Kentucky Derby with photo finish. So what we do is we take the first 40 across the line, pull those out, and draw for prizes that way. And that's it.
So what do people donate for what?
Well, we have, this year we had a pre-owned GMC Yukon Denali from Don Ledford. So they donated that as a prize.
That's a big prize.
A big prize at a time when people are having trouble finding vehicles. They gave one away. We had a Jekyll Island vacation, so 2 nights in Jekyll Island, plus passes to all kinds of stuff down there. And then we utilized our relationships with the Titans. So we had Titans-Texans tickets, Dollywood, Lake Winnie, Six Flags, on and on, Soaky Mountain Water Park.
And what does this money go towards?
Well, there's no money involved. There's no money involved whatsoever. It's just a promotion. It's just I tell you what it is. And Jimmy Logan said this to me several times. And that is, after 15 years, the duck race really is simply, and especially this year, about just getting together. About just coming together, there's Mayfield ice cream. This year we had food trucks for the first time. Shut down half a Raider Drive in front of Cleveland High. Put food trucks out there. This year was special. We did it in August. We normally do it in June. First time we ever did it in August. Had the biggest crowd we ever had. And we have live music. It's fun. It's fun. It's just, it's fun. We had lots of attractions for children to do. Great.
I was thinking that it was for some kind of a charity.
It's not. It's really not. It's just a get together. It'd be like it's like the block it's like the block party, or it's like I would say that now the Apple Festival is for charity, but it's an event.
Now after 9 o'clock, when you finish the morning show, what's your day look like?
It's different every day. It could be I go attend a meeting. Maybe I go to represent the station, maybe at some kind of community.
Chamber of Commerce, whatever.
I'm on the chamber board. I would have you ask Mike Griffin to come in, the chamber CEO. However, we would want you to live through it. And he is so boring. I play tennis with Mike usually a couple of times a week that you just couldn't make. He would be the worst guest you've ever had. He would shut this down. I had lunch with him Thursday in Jerome Hammond.
Where'd you have lunch at?
We went to Cafe Roma
Cafe Ron.
Our buddy Shannon over there.
Can you get into the gardeners anymore?
Last report, we could not. I love Gardeners Market. My buddy Joe Stamper, he's at Gardeners every day for lunch, or was. Last I've heard, I don't think.
Joe got there at 11 o'clock, didn't he?
Yep. Gets that wrap.
With lettuce.
The lettuce wrap.
Yeah, lettuce wrap.
The lettuce wrap.
But I believe that they are still closed.
I think they're still closed to the public. Yeah.
Because of COVID?
Yep, that's it. Because of COVID. You could sit, I think they've got tables. I love Gardeners Market.
Yeah.
You could have tables and chairs out there, but they've chosen to remain closed. But you ask what I do, and then I'll go out and maybe cover something or something of that nature, represent the station. Yeah.
So you're through pretty much for the day, other than going to meetings?
Yeah, and that's really, when I say the morning show's the fun part.
Yeah.
It is. The rest of the day's fun too. It's just extremely unpredictable as to what may be happening. And there's a lot of interior. We'll have our meetings internally at the station to plan different things for events or for coverage or.
How do you set those meetings up?
Well, you tell them we're going to have a meeting in the conference room at 10 o'clock or whatever,
Yeah.
And they usually.
The day before?
I try to give them a few days' notice. Now, sometimes, I hate meetings, but sometimes it may be, I'm in the hallway with Dwayne or Bridget or Ashley or Austin or whoever, and we'll have an idea, and, all of a sudden you find yourself doing something you didn't know you were going to do.
Do you look at yourself as WKRP in Cincinnati? Did you ever watch that show?
Johnny Fever.
Yeah, Johnny Fever.
Venus Flytrap.
Yeah.
Les Nessman.
Les Nessman. Who's the guy that had the hair?
Andy.
Andy.
Would that be Andy, the sales manager?
He was the station manager.
The station. The guy, and I can't think of his name right off, the man who played Herb on television.
Yeah.
He died. The real
Is that
man
right?
died just recently. Yeah. He was a salesman, I think.
No, he was the owner. He was the owner's.
Gordon Jump was the
Gordon Jump.
Yeah, and he came to Cleveland.
I didn't know that.
He played the Maytag repairman for a while, and he came to Cleveland.
Now wait just a minute. Gordon Jump was the guy that was the station manager, right?
The bald-headed man. He that's his real name, was Gordon Jump. I don't. Mr. Carlson.
He was Gordon Jump. So he came as the Maytag repairman.
Later on, after the show, he portrayed the Maytag repairman for the Maytag.
Not the original one, because that was a different. I remember that guy.
But Gordon came to Cleveland for the Make-A-Wish golf tournament for Maytag. This has been 20 years ago, but yeah.
You ever think about getting? So I know Alan Jones had Leave It to Beaver guys here.
Yep. Yeah,
he had Duck Dynasty here, that guy.
Yep, and he brought Little Richard.
I'm not familiar with him, but I remember he brought him. Who else was it? How much do those people cost to bring here?
I haven't priced one in a long time. I don't.
I mean, say I got to Leave It to Beaver to come here. What would it cost me?
I haven't. You'd have to ask Alan.
10,000 or 20,000?
I have no idea. No clue. I've never tried.
If I was him, I'd go for 5,000, wouldn't you?
What? Oh, sure. I'd go for 5,000. What about $5? Come on. You offered me a Fig Newton for your. Gwen said.
Yeah, you want another one?
I'm good, thanks.
These are the original Fig Newtons. I don't like those strawberry ones.
Just give me the original.
I like like original Pringles.
Oh.
I like original everything.
I believe that. Let me say
like Coca-Cola.
Oh, real Coke. Remember when they tried the new Coke and basically everybody exploded? Stupid. Yeah. Let me say this, Dee, before we go on. You're doing a wonderful job. I do believe that you are facilitating wonderful conversations with people, and this will go on after they're gone. And it's something that I thought about this when we took a break there, that their families can go back and see and appreciate. But can I ask you? Can I turn the table?
Sure.
What's one? This is what I do for a living.
Sure.
Can I do that, Gwen? Is that legal? Why are you doing this? Why did you want to do this?
I don't know. I have thought about that myself, and I tell you what it was. and I don't know if this is the reason, but this is the only explanation I can come up with. I was driving back from Georgia somewhere, and I thought, I'm getting really burnt out. I thought, what do I want to do? Well, the only thing I thought about was I like to drink coffee and talk to people about whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'll film it. Yeah. And I thought, well, who would watch it? I said, I don't know, but it's interesting to me. It's got to be interesting to somebody else.
That's right.
So 238,000 views. I don't know what that means in terms of popularity or nothing. But now they tell me that some people, some of my advisors say, oh, that's not that many. But from what I can tell, that's a lot.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
But here's what I realized. Here's something else that I like about it. I like Larry Presswood.
Yeah.
I like Eddie Cartwright.
Yeah.
I like Steve Hartline.
Yeah.
And I want people to see them as I see them.
Wow.
Not that Joe V. Williams, I love talking to Joe V. Williams.
Yeah.
He's coming out next week.
Yeah.
I want people to see Joe V. as I see Joe V.
Yeah.
And not with people's uniforms on.
Yeah, that's right. So
I don't know, but I'll say this: when Larry died, his views went up about 1,500.
Yeah.
And it's better than an obituary.
And his family, and I was actually thinking about Larry. One of the ones I thought of. His family had that forever. Forever.
His son called me.
Yeah.
Said, "I'm so glad that you did that."
Because I was talking with somebody about you and how, and actually this came up at our lunch the other day at Roma, as I was talking to Jerome about doing this and Mike Griffin, and we were with Todd Fletcher, the new president of Life Care. And it's interesting that you would think a builder, doing this, but at the same time, you've always been, and that's what Jerome said, you've always been so curious about people. You're so interested in different facets of people, and I found that as you built our building.
And if you see me during the day, I might not even notice you, because I'm focused on the job. I'm doing this.
Yep.
I'm doing that. Don't get in my way. Here's one thing I found out about this. You can't have road rage like you used to have. Because they might know you.
Yeah, I know. They say, oh, wait a second. I know that guy.
Do you ever have that problem? You think,
oh, yeah. Oh, Lord, yeah. It gets bad. I need to go to some program or something.
do you ever do that, driving down the road and you see somebody and you start, this the normal, and you think, I hope they don't recognize me?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean,
what do you do? Tinted windows?
No. Hey, I don't have tinted windows. They're wide open. I don't know. You just don't do it. I guess you count to whatever you count, 200 or whatever.
Count to 200.
By that point, it's all over.
Now, what time do you go to sleep?
I probably should go to bed at 9, but I usually go. If there's nothing that I really want to watch, it's 10 o'clock. But if it's, like I said, if it's football season, or if it's some big special event, I love big event television. I still do. So I watch the Grammys, I watch the Oscars, I watch all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Then I'll
Miss America and all. I watch all. I've watched about all of the Olympics.
I love the Olympics.
If it comes on between 10 and 1, I'm watching it.
I love the Olympics.
Even if I don't care about the sport,
yeah,
I just like to watch people that are really good at what they do.
They're the best.
No matter what it is.
No matter what it is.
Even that curling thing.
I love the curling thing.
Yeah, isn't that so much?
That's something my mother could do as an Olympic
Isn't that
athlete.
so much like life?
Yeah.
Trying to slide it in at the right time without messing something up.
That's it. You got it. So when do you get up?
I get up about 7. I don't set any alarms.
You don't really. Just let it happen.
I did that so long that I do not set any alarms, and I do not set any appointments before 10. So
Smart.
there's no reason. Now I'll get up and I'll get going and I'm out of the house.
Yeah.
But I don't want to have to.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than getting up in the morning. You got your plan. It's going to be a good day. You know who you're eating lunch with.
Yep.
You got this planned. You're going to be over there.
Yep.
You get a cup of coffee, Starbucks coffee or
Amen.
whatever. You're listening to WCLE.
Yep.
The sun's coming out. You're going to ride your bicycle later this afternoon after 5.
Yep.
How's it getting better?
Doesn't get any better than that. Let me tell you a quick story, and I don't normally talk a lot about myself. I'll two quick things. We had a situation just in the last week as we taped this, and this is about you. And we're over in Nashville, and we're doing an anniversary trip. And then the station received a couple of awards from the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame. And that was because of Tom and Sandra Rowland and the Empty Stocking Fund and Brenda Lawson and Stan. Tom and Sandra started the Empty Stocking Fund with Bobby Taylor in 1970. And so asking people to give money for children at Christmas, it's the best thing we do all year. $150,000 last year in the middle of a pandemic. So they gave us an award for that and two awards for another award for our tornado coverage of Easter 2020. So we're over in Nashville. Friday was wonderful. We had a great time, Jennifer and I. Anniversary combined with, well, we're going to be there, so let's go for anniversary and then go to this banquet. And we got a call at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning that the lady who was coming to feed our cat said, there is water all over the house. It's flooding. It's coming down. And we left the hotel and we were walking over. I had never been to the Ryman Auditorium all these years, never been over there. We don't go to Nashville a lot. So I told Jennifer, I said, hey, let's look around downtown Nashville, and then go to, and then leave and go to the event for the Radio Hall of Fame was in Murfreesboro at the Embassy Suites. So we had just left the hotel. We'd gotten about a block away. We were there. I can still see it in my mind. We're there by Bridgestone Arena. Jennifer gets a call. And I can hear, been married 16 years, I can hear in her voice that it's not good. It's not good. And then she begins to say, Steve, the house is flooded. Her first words to me, still on the phone, call Dee Burris. First words. I don't know how you get any better than that. That's a compliment to you.
That tickles me to death.
That's the first thing she said. And you left what you were doing, went over with your guys, and made a huge difference. And I thank you.
Even I mopped.
You mopped, got all the water up, and it wasn't as bad as we thought. Second thing, and I want to say this. Look, everybody's got something in their lives that's not, everybody's got something. I said that to somebody yesterday in a phone conference. Everybody's got something. They don't want to hear me get on the radio and complain, but I did. I got COVID back last November and had to miss the Empty Stocking Fund the first time in 25 years. Now, here's the good part, is that they raised a record amount without me. So, I'm not going to be there this year. I'm going to take that. That's 2 weeks. I then struggled with long hauler symptoms. Now, my symptom was, and I think it's pretty wimpy, I was just tired, fatigue. So I'd go do the show when I could, and then I'd go home. And I did that basically January through March.
You were tired. You were exhausted. I remember.
Yeah, I couldn't. What that, for those who have thankfully have not experienced it, but so many have now, and it just I had never felt. I'm never sick. I'm just never sick. But I did get the virus, It zapped me completely. I would have the energy for one thing a day, and I did that in the morning. That's all I did, and that's all I could do. I never thought, never did anything like it in my life. I'm thank the Lord, I am a healthy person overall. But I'd go and sit down. I couldn't do it. And through that, I really became grateful for my health, for little things, little things, for being able to go out and play ball with Holden, or feel like taking Reagan somewhere, my daughter. And I didn't talk about that a lot on the air. Because like I said, everybody's got something going on, and they don't want to hear you.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear that. There were several in the media in this area that wanted me to come and do a story about it, and I said, I don't want to do it. Now, I have been very, very outspoken. Me, personally, this is me. Get vaccinated. Get this thing behind us. It's time to stop messing around. And I think people are getting that message.
I got vaccinated. It was no problem.
First day it was available, I was there, and I'd do it again. Did
you get the Moderna?
No, I got Pfizer. I just kind of potluck over at First Baptist with the health department. Yeah. But I guess my point is, I am more grateful today than I've ever been for just life. I wasn't like Mayor Brooks, who nearly died. I wasn't. I was completely incapacitated. I could not have done anything if I wanted to.
You knew it wasn't a scam, right?
It's not a scam. I can tell you right now, it's not a scam. I mean, now, and I think there's way too much evidence and people that we actually know. Somebody said, well, you know what? It was Mayor Davis when they came in last week, sounding the alarm, he and Kevin Brooks, Mayor Brooks, about, guys, it's getting serious again here. But he said, you never hear somebody say, do you know someone who's had COVID? And of course you do.
Sure.
Of course we do.
I hope they don't do another lockdown, but maybe they will.
I don't see that. I don't see how they could, really. I don't.
I don't think it's going to be as bad this time with people getting vaccinated.
So,
you give it another 6 months, there'll be a lot of more people vaccinated.
Well, and now look, this is nothing against anyone who has decided not to. Thank God for free choice. But some people, there was a lady who I've known all my life, who said, you know what, I was waiting on time. I was waiting on more to see how it went. Yeah. And then she went and got it. And that's, hey, whatever.
That's
whatever
reasonable.
I wants to do. Yeah. But I can see that. But I would say to that, again, I push a button and talk on the. I mean, what do? I talk on a microphone. Big deal. But I do know that these are trillion-dollar publicly traded companies. I'm talking about Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson. If anything goes wrong, that's a big issue. So I don't think they're going to mess around.
Well, here's the way I look at it. If getting the vaccine has some kind of adverse effect, if the vaccine was man-made, then they know at least how they made it. Yeah. They'll know how to reverse it.
These are smart people.
The COVID, they don't really know.
No.
So I'll take my chances with what they made, and at least they know how they made it. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. And these are smart people. You know, the Lord uses doctors, uses scientists, uses all of that. You know, sometimes we forget. Some people forget that, hey, the Lord created all of it, every bit of it.
Are you going to retire as a radio man, or are you going to sell out, or what's the plan? Or are they going to carry you out in a pine box?
You mean today? I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Well, let me say quickly, I don't have any plans of as you call it, selling out or stopping or anything. I don't know. I really enjoy what I do.
You have become our connection. Does that make sense?
Tell me about that. I don't know what you mean.
You're the connection. You're where we get the news.
Well, in some ways, yeah. I mean, we are the only ones Our friends at Cleveland Daily Banner do a tremendous job covering the news here, but from a broadcast standpoint, on a minute-by-minute basis, yeah. For better or worse, it's us, and sometimes it's worse. But
You're all we got.
Yeah, I know, man. I had the lady call, and she says, "Steve," this is on the air. She says, "Steve, we just love your station." I said, "Well, thank you very much." She says, "Our radio's been stuck for quite a while." And she was dead serious. I said, "Well, hey, just as long as you consider us." Yeah, I love it.
Do you like helping some of these non-profit organizations?
I think that's why we're there. I think that we are there to do good. I believe we're a front for ministry. I believe there are so many businesses, not just radio, that are just there. We are there to serve the public. And so when a nonprofit comes to us, let's take Corinne Freeman, the Caring Place. They just had a tremendously successful fundraiser, Christmas in July, with my friend Karen Mills, who's still, she's a comedian now, but she hit that game winner in '76 at Bradley Central High School for the Barretts. But, they all come to us, and I love it. I love it. I love it when we can take the thousands of people listening and now the thousands watching, and we can put a message out there, be it a caring place, and I single them out because I feel so strongly about them, feeding people, feeding children, hungry children, that there are thousands, Dee, and Gwen knows this, thousands of children who don't have enough to eat from Friday afternoon to Monday morning. Here, it's a crying, it's a crying shame. We live in such a prosperous community that these children are hungry. So this organization, not only are they feeding these children, obviously that's part of what they do, but if it's Foundation House Ministries, that's one downtown. They came to us, and Suzanne came to us and talks about women, these mothers in bad situations that they're helping. Free to Fly, I'm starting to name names, get in trouble. Free to Fly Ministries, my friends, the Johnstons, Haley Johnston, down there. They are taking women especially, and they are learning and training and learning how to do things and crafting especially.
I've seen them. Boy, they do a lot, don't they?
Yes, but it could be the Salvation Army or Habitat for Humanity or on and on and on. Or it could, we talk nonprofits, could be a school. Could be Patrick Spangler, who came to us, not just Patrick, we have had every principal in the last week of middle and high schools in Bradley County and Cleveland City.
And you don't get paid for that, obviously.
No, sir. No, but it's why we're there.
Do you see that you're doing the same thing your grandfather was doing?
There are people, my papa's been gone 25 years this year. There are people, though, I hear about him every week. There's not a week that goes by that I don't hear about him, from people who were here then. And yes, that has been talked about. And let me say, it's the greatest honor I could have, is that, and we are bringing, I hope, a smile, as we said earlier, a smile to someone's face. I don't want them to cry now. It's up to them. But hopefully we're starting on a positive note. God bless you. Thank you.